So the weather back home's been pretty rubbish recently, so I thought, oh, why not come to Spain? It'll be nice in Spain. I was wrong. Very wrong.
Here's what nobody tells you about the Costa Blanca. When it's 30 degrees and sunny, nobody ever leaves the beach, so no one ever sees what this place is actually made of. But when it rains, you get forced off the sunlounger to go and look. And behind the high-rises, I found a mayor who rode a scooter to face down a dictator, a quiet fishing village deliberately rebuilt to look like Manhattan, and a church shaped like a ship. Because the real story of this coast comes down to one simple choice, made two completely different ways: surrender to the concrete or fight it. And almost every town here has picked a side. Quick bit of geography. The Costa Blanca runs down the eastern edge of Spain. Most people will fly into Alicante and never leave the coastal resorts. My plan was to start in the thick of the high-rises, Calpe and Benidorm, then climb inland to the mountain fortresses, and finish right out on the raw edge of the Cape at Javea. If Benidorm is the loud night out, and Altea is the quiet retreat, Calpe sits right in between. Same huge sandy beaches and apartment blocks as the big strips, but a slightly more relaxed crowd. The town's famous for one thing: a 332 metre slab of limestone punching straight out of the sea. Peñón de Ifach. It's the smallest natural park in Spain, and for a long time it was a lookout for spotting incoming pirates. The rock's so sheer that in 1918 they blasted a tunnel clean through the cliff just to get climbers around to the far side and up to the summit. But the wildest thing in Calpe isn't natural. On the cliffs just down the coast sits a pink fortress of apartments called La Muralla Roja, the Red Wall. Designed in the late 60s, right as the package holiday boom was kicking off, it's strictly private, so you can't wander in, but you can find apartments for rent on Airbnb. 50 years on, and the coastline of near identical looking holiday flats is the only one anybody still bothers to photograph. A bit further along are the salt flats, these days full of flamingos. This isn't just a prairie wetland. The Romans ran a salt fishing operation right here 2,000 years ago. Industry on this exact spot, long before the tourists ever arrived, and now is completely boxed in by 1970s holiday blocks.
So in the summer, this beach is completely packed. I mean, it's beautiful. The beach itself is beautiful, the water's beautiful. We've got the massive rock, which is really impressive. But today, I am the only person on the sand, and probably the locals are looking at me going, what is that idiot doing? The wind, right? And like, you think, oh, it's fine, we'll just have a nice walk down by the beach. But because it's this soft, well, it's not artificial sand, but imported sand, it's like really fine, so it just gets picked up by the wind really easily and blows in your face.
When the beach is this miserable, you go looking for shelter, and tucked right underneath those high-rises, Calpe has hung on to an original old town.
It's one of the plazas in the old town. You can see in the summer, all these restaurants, I'd imagine would be quite lively. These tables out on the street packed. Right now it kind of feels like a ghost town, to be honest. On one hand, you can walk about without the crowds, but as much as the crowds are annoying, they do create an atmosphere, I think. Guess I'll not be getting any ice cream. So this is the sort of iconic place in Calpe, apart from the rock, the steps with a flag. It's quite nice feeling like you've kind of got it to yourself. Then again, there is the wind. That's the next street along from the Spanish Steps, and I think they've been like, ha, you're not getting all the fame. We're going to put crocheted stuff up over our street. Well, that's smart. Because you're walking down the street as well, the perspective of it's weird. I'm guessing a lot of people don't live in the old town or close to it because there's just nobody here. Like, it's totally empty. Some of the restaurants and that are open, but there's nobody in them. And it is Spain. It's gonna be too early. Oh wow. What a different place. I mean, there are still people enjoying the beach, but mostly people are there fishing. There's so many of these.
Calpe's old town only just survived the building boom, but to understand why this whole coastline turned to concrete in the first place, I had to drive down to one place I'd sworn I'd never go.
Okay, I never thought I would say this. I'm in Benidorm. I've never really had anything nice to say about it, but to be honest, that's based on my perception of it and not actual experience. I've never actually been here. So Benidorm does have an old town, and I'm apparently in it, but these buildings don't look very old. It's quite cool that it's got a skyline. It makes it feel like a proper city. Feels like Rio or something. Maybe not. That's probably an exaggeration. Hey, the sand on that beach is beautiful. It's the liveliest place we've been. It's definitely got a bit of an atmosphere. And I have actually heard a couple of people speaking Spanish on the street. I didn't expect that. I expected to only hear English. It's a cool bit of rock. Okay, first impressions. It's nicer than I thought. From here it looks pretty. The beach is lovely. I don't know if you can make it out because it's quite faint, but the cross up on the hill there is apparently built to cleanse the city from the sins of all the tourists. Leave me alone, I'm on my holidays. There's so many mobility scooters. Lots of Brits here. Groups of lads that look like they're rough from last night and just waiting to go out again tonight. Oh my God, there's people in the water. Oh, it's not going to be warm. You know, I think because of the sea, the water, the beach, the mountains and stuff that's around it, the actual setting of it is really pretty. It's just, unfortunately, who and what's here. God, that sounds really bad. It's true. All these streets at the side are just bars. Alright, we're going to go and check out Calle Gerona, which has apparently got the most concentration of bars catered to British tourists. See if I feel at home. I really hope that's karaoke going on over there and he's not been paid for that performance. Imagine this at night is crazy. It's about 5 p.m. now. I was on that street for about 5 minutes. Only offered drugs twice. You can't say it's a pretty city. Like beyond the waterfront. Like these high-rise buildings are pretty ugly.
Here's the twist with Benidorm. Its ugliness isn't an accident. It's ruthlessly deliberate. Back in the 1950s, the town's mayor forced developers to build up instead of out, stack the rooms vertically, and almost every hotel window gets a sea view. It was never built to be pretty. It was built to give millions of working class families exactly what they paid for.
Thinking about it, it was one of the first big holiday destinations. But UK's had this love affair with holidays in Spain for decades. And I guess maybe for some older couples, maybe Benidorm was like one of the first places that came together, and it was a really unusual thing then to go abroad. I wonder if there's a nostalgic thing that brings them back. And actually the area, the weather, the mountains, the beach, the water, you can see what's nice about it.
The mayor who forced this town to the sky was Pedro Zaragoza, and he didn't stop at architecture.
In the 50s, the mayor of Benidorm at the time was nicknamed the Bikini Mayor. He defied the rules of the time and permitted women to wear bikinis on the beach here.
When the church threatened to excommunicate him over those bikinis, Zaragoza got on his Vespa and rode all the way to Madrid to plead his case to General Franco in person, and he won. That's the same nerve that built the skyline. He pushed every building upward so the ground could stay open for pools, gardens and wide avenues. Benidorm didn't end up looking like Manhattan by accident. Zaragoza set out to build the Manhattan of the Mediterranean.
Would I come to Benidorm with my partner? No. Would I come with a group of friends for a long weekend and it was focused around partying and drinking? Yeah, absolutely. Chill out during the day, party at night. I get it. Like, I do get it. I do get the appeal. I wonder how many people actually come here and get out of Benidorm. Let's have a look at all the places that you could go that aren't Benidorm.
So that's one answer to the concrete. Build up and own it. A few miles up the road, Altea gave the exact opposite answer. Same coast, same decade, same boom, and while Benidorm's mayor was writing master plans to force developers into the sky, Altea was writing laws to keep them out. Strict height caps, a fiercely protected old town, a legal wall thrown up against the bulldozers.
So apparently Altea has its own microclimate. Well, right now, the sun's out. This is only the second time I've seen the sun. The last time I saw it was 2-3 days ago for about an hour. Thanks, Altea. I'll take that. An amazing view up here. Right out to Calpe. You can see how it's quite protected here as well. And it's nice because there's no high rises. There's still modern-ish apartment blocks, but they're only like 5-6 stories, not like these massive towers at Benidorm and Calpe. This is lovely. And there's nobody about. It's almost like Portuguese, the way the paving's been done. It's really nice. It's slippy, but it's very nice. I don't know if it's because it's still reasonably early in the morning, it's like 10 AM, or if because the weather's been a bit crap. Everything's ghost.
The layout up here is Moorish, a deliberate maze originally built to confuse invaders, now mostly just confusing tourists. And because Altea threw up that illegal shield, it became a bit of a refuge. Bohemian artists and writers fled here in the 60s and 70s, escaping the concrete going up just down the coast.
This church is like the icon of Altea because of its blue dome. It's pretty cool. I'm just disappointed it's not blue inside. I can see Benidorm from here. Yeah, you can see the high rises of Benidorm. Can't quite see the high rises of Calpe, but this does feel a little bit separate. I can see why people like it. The water as well looks beautiful. I'm sure it's pretty cold right now, but it still looks pretty. There's some really nice looking beaches down here.
Benidorm chose the package holiday. Altea chose to keep its skyline. 50 years on, both towns are still living with the choice they made. The fight over the coast only happened because this coast was worth fighting for in the first place. To see what everyone was actually defending, you have to turn your back on the sea and head for the mountains.
Now this town looks pretty unassuming. I mean, it's surrounded by mountains, but it's not until you see it from above that it looks impressive.
From the air, you can see exactly why the Moors picked this spot in the 11th century. is a natural choke point. Hold this rock, and you hold the entire valley.
This place is called Guadalest. Guadalest. This place is called Guadalest. Actually, it looks like quite a pretty little town, despite it really imposing, rocky, sharp, Lord of the Rings looking castle thing in the middle of it. The buildings look traditional. The shops look like tourist trap stuff, but what a cool place. All the shops are built into the rock as well, like this one. Look at this. That's amazing. So you're just walking into the rock.
To get into the old town, you don't walk around the mountain, you walk straight through it, through a single tunnel carved into the rock.
This reminds me of San Marino. Smaller, not as high, but it's got a really similar feel to San Marino. Cute little prison. I can think of someone that to put in there right now. Imagine this is where you went to school. What the hell? Why is there a school up here? It's actually still sunny at the coast, but I think it's appropriately midi here. It wouldn't look right here if it was sunny. So cool. It's just built around all these rocks. There's a torture museum there if you're looking for inspiration, ideas. Yeah, I mean the geology, the rock and the castle and stuff are cool, but the whole town, apart from the school, is just a tourist trap. But it's worth coming to see though.
On the way back down, I passed Polop, a ruined Moorish fortress. In the 19th century, they turned the castle ruins into a cemetery, so there's now an ancient graveyard perched on top of the rock, quietly ignoring the resorts below. I then dropped back down to the coast, to Javea. And here's the thing about Javea's old town. It sits 2 miles inland, on purpose. For a long time, living on the water meant being kidnapped by Barbary pirates.
I do think that when there's the slightest bit of rain, Spanish people run inside. But it will take a little while for them to come back out again. Oh, that was cool. That's where all the people are. So many of the cafes and restaurants here rely on their outdoor seating. And when it comes to the rain, they're a bit screwed. I can't say it's the most interesting museum in the world, but it is free. And the building's cool. Javea doesn't have any high rises. And it's got this lovely old town. This one sort of retained more of its historic charm, I guess. It's lovely. lovely, but not lively. The lively bit is apparently down at the beach. But I imagine that'll be a bit subdued today. This could be a really lovely place. But today, I mean, I do enjoy the big waves, to be fair. Well, I think this might be a big one. Hold on. I love waves. I mean, to be honest, being Scottish, I don't actually think the weather's that bad. But there's quite a lot down here. Restaurants and cafes and stuff. And there is like a, it's like a gravelly beach. Yeah, this is a lovely little waterfront area, this. It's all like palm tree lined and stuff. It goes round to the harbour. And then up here, there's a viewpoint. And there is a weather warning out today. But so far, it's not that bad. Mildly moist, I would call it. I feel like I need to go and see what this very weird, brutalist structure is. Oh, good, that's unusual. What on earth is it? It's a church. What an unusual church. Seems quite out of place.
In a region obsessed with whitewashed arches and little blue domes, dropping a giant slab of raw concrete in the middle of a port town takes serious nerve. It is completely out of place, but I think it's pretty cool.
I did see a sign down at the waterfront saying church this way, but I just presumed it was another standard church. That is quite impressive.
From a church built like a ship, I drove out to the literal cape of the ship, Cap de la Nau. This is the easternmost tip on this whole coastline, and the closest point on mainland Spain to Ibiza. On a clear day, you can see the party island from here. Today, you can barely see your own hand. So here's what the rain taught me. If all you want is to lie on a beach, fair enough, stick to the strips. But the Costa Blanca isn't one place. It's a long argument about concrete, the towns that surrendered to it, the towns that fought it off, and the mountain fortresses and bizarre brutalist churches left in between. Rent a car, lean into the bad weather, and you get the half they leave out of the market. It's quieter, it's stranger, and best of all, you don't have to listen to a group of drunk, shirtless men singing Sweet Caroline. I'll take it.